So I'm Greg Kolodziej. I work at Wood County Health Department, and today we're going to talk about bugs, avoiding bug bites, how to prevent donating blood or taking the suckers home with you if you're at a place that has them. And so I like talking about bugs. It's one of my favorite topics, and usually by the time I'm done with these, people are usually itching, so we'll see how that goes. So things that'll help you stay bite-free. It's first identification. So if you're at a place or if you have a bug, get a sample, because we can't just say a little brown bug with legs and, oh yeah, I know exactly what that is. So identification makes control easier, because then you know the enemy, you know how the critter behaves, and that'll help you avoid contact, and it'll help you know how to control them. So being prepared, you can manage what you do by making yourself less vulnerable. So if you know you're entering a place with ticks, for example, you wear light colored clothing, you spray your clothes before you go into the tall grass. Be efficient in what you do. That'll make the pest less opportunistic, the less time to bite or hitchhike on you. So if you know you have to go out in the brush to cut something, you go cut something. You don't just have lunch out there sitting in the tall grass, you go somewhere else. If you're going to a house where you suspect that there's a pest like bed bugs, you don't sit or kneel or roll around on the floor. You're just giving them an opportunity to crawl up on you. Alright, so there are categories, right? There are bugs that look for you, bugs that find you. They can smell you, they sense you. Bed bugs are in that category, bird mites are in that category. Mosquitoes, ticks, they're all in that category. You can set a tick down on a table and watch it look for a direction towards you, and then it'll walk right towards you, because it's picking up on your exhalations, it's picking up on your heat, all kinds of different things. Different bugs use different things to find us. Fleas, things that run into you, fleas and cockroaches. I said fleas, yes, they're bloodsuckers, and they do look for something to eat, but they're not really looking for you, because most of the fleas that we're talking about are looking for a dog meal, because that's what they need to reproduce on. They can get a meal off of you, but that's not going to help them lay eggs. It's a weird biological thing with fleas. Cockroaches, they're not intentionally looking for you, they're looking for a place to hide. And so you set your bag down, they'll crawl into it. And then you bring them home, and then they run away from the bag and find another place to hide. And things you get from other people. Head lice. Anybody know? Children, right? Sleepovers, borrowing hats, stuff like that. Scabies is another one. Direct contact, skin to skin. Alright, so there's the bed bug. This is a hot topic. Everyone's concerned about these. They want to know. They think that people used to think they're invisible and fake, but you can clearly see they're not invisible. They have a range of sizes. These are all their life stages, starting with this little white dot, which is the egg. They have incomplete metamorphosis, which is kind of interesting. This adult has the same number of legs as the young. They look the same. They just shed their skin, and that's another thing you can look for when you're at a place and you're concerned about. Besides searching the bed, you can look on the floor around the bed and see all these little crispies of their skin. So that's signs that there was a bed bug problem there. And the skin will look just like they do. What do they look like? They're flat, they have a large body, they fill up like this guy on the finger here. You can see he's full, so he's rounder, more oval shape. They're easy to see, you just gotta look for them. When I go into a place looking for them, I'll bring a headlamp, a flashlight, I open up all the window, all the shades, and I let it be bright, because I'll make this as easy as possible. Light helps you find them. Alright, other clues. So bed bugs, here's things. Bed bugs don't fly, they can't really run, they move at a crawl, and they don't jump. So knowing that, you can protect yourself from their exposure. But they leave these spots, these stainings. You see those black spots along the edge of the mattress there. Up here, down there. They're looking for a place to wedge themselves into and hide, and they poop These black spots are black until you get them wet, and then they turn red. Why do they turn red? What are they eating? Blood, yeah. So that blood meal. They like to hide in dark, tight, safe places, cracks and crevices. They like to hide very close to where people sit and lay down. If you're a bed bug and this is the bathroom and that's the bed over there, you're not going to hide here. You want to be as close to the meal as possible. So that zone around the bed is the place. 70% is the place where people are sleeping, where their meal is. That makes sense. It's easier for them. Let's see. So the bed, the box spring, headboard, mattress, baseboard around the bed, couch or chair that's commonly used, nightstands, walls. So this goes down. These are less common areas. The mattress is the largest. Actually, largest percent is the bed's box spring below the mattress. So, protecting yourself, keeping it simple, wearing light colored clothing. This can go with ticks as well, so you can see that they've crawled onto you. If I'm going to do an inspection in a home, I'm not going to wear black or brown, which is a color they're going to blend into. Creases, pockets, wear your shoes that you can put in the dryer. So if I go somewhere, maybe overnight at a conference, and I'm worried about what I might get from the place I'm at, spending the weekend there, I will put all my clothes in the dryer, shoes included, dry. The heat kills them. So you avoiding the comfy places. So don't sit, right? If they're in the beds and sofas and you're at a place where you're worried about it, just don't sit in them. Stick to the center of the room. If I'm here, nothing's going to crawl up on me. I'm moving around. It's not going to get me. Be efficient. Take only what you need to. I carry bags with me everywhere I go, except for the houses that I'm doing inspections at. So, but if you're traveling, that's different. So how do I travel? Inside of my bag with my clothes is a giant plastic bag. One of those big leaf bags. I take the bag out of my bag, I put my bag in the bag, I tie the bag shut, and it stays in the tub. That's how I travel, and I live out of that bag. And I don't have to worry about setting stuff all over the room that I'm in. Pretty easy. Avoid taking your purses, setting those down in places. So be aware, do a pest check after you've been somewhere. It doesn't take that long. They're not that fast. They will be crawling. Use a mirror, the light colored clothing we mentioned. Less stuff means less place to hide. Wipe the seams, the seam on a blue jean, the seams of the bag that you did bring in there, that they're looking for a crevice, a crack. Notice they were on the seam of the bed. That's why you wipe those seams down. Very quickly, in 5 minutes, you can wipe everything you've brought in. Tissue or wet wipe. If you find them, crush them. That's pretty simple. With a tick, with a bed bug, with any pest that you don't want, kill it. Or keep it as a sample in tape. And then you can bring it in for identification. We can confirm it's a bed bug, not a pill bug, or a carpet beetle, or all the other little beetles that people bring to us. So, we like it hot. Why do we like it hot? Because the heat kills them. It's one of the most effective methods. Even pest control companies are getting away from using chemicals for everything. And they're using chemicals only in spots where they know they're at for direct application. But instead, so if this was a big room that we're going to treat, they'd bring in these massive heaters. They'd heat this room up to about 135 degrees for about a day or two, and everything in here dies. It becomes problematic with TVs and radios and electronics, but they try and keep it below the melting point of plastic. So, all right. So stick everything you have in the dryer, heat it for 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be exactly 30 minutes. I'm sure if you get close to that, it's going to do the job. Treatment. Self-treatment is seldom effective and usually results in despair and frustration. And I mean despair. If anybody's ever had a bed bug or known of a bed bug infestation in somebody's place, they're frantic. They're at wit's end and they don't know what to do. Everything they've tried has failed because they've been trying all this other random stuff and they're setting off bombs in their house, but bug bombs, and they're just low dosing themselves with pesticide is what's happening. It's not going to take care of the problem. It's just going to come back every couple of weeks. Their infestation never ends. What do you do? Fastidious cleaning. I said live like a monk. So for a while, what you can do, you're going to treat this yourself. Your bed is on legs. You buy these things called climb-up interceptors. They can't climb up to you and they can't climb down the hide. They get caught in the interceptor. Nothing around your bed touches the floor or the wall or anything else. Your bed is now a safe zone. You put your mattresses and your box springs inside of these mattress bags that you zip up. Anybody inside of that mattress is going to die of starvation because they can't get to you. And they don't have a place to go hide at night. So you've made your bed a safe zone. At least you can get rest. You might still have bed bugs on the couch, but at least you can get some rest. And that these people are tired, things are biting them. They need a place of safety. And then doing your inspections. So you run around every day with your little headlamp on. You are an inspector. You turn the lights on, open the shades, and get that light in there and look for them. And if you see them on a spot, you kill them with that direct application of pesticide rather than the bomb going off everywhere. Bed coverings, interceptors, those climb up things that you can put on the legs. You'll see that hotels used to have boxes on everything, these wooden boxes that the box spring sat on. They're getting away from that. They're going back to the legs because they can then treat, it's easier for them to prevent. Bed coverings, nothing touching the walls and grounds, no bombs. They spread the problem and the poison all over. They really are a waste of money to bomb stuff. It's just a waste of money because now you have pesticide on every surface, dish, couch, clothing, everything you have. Do you really need more pesticide exposure in your life? No. Hire a professional. If you have the money and you can do it, that's the way to do it. Hire a professional. If the professional, and you call them and say, how much for a bed bug treatment? And they give you an answer, that's probably not the right person to hire. They should treat it as a problem. I'll tell you how much it costs based on what I find. I'm going to do an inspection first to see what kind of pests you have, where the infestations are, how much it is, and then I'll tell you how long it'll take me and give you an estimate. So that's the company you're looking for. Bird mites. Bird mites are usually on birds, but they also find us too. They're very small. These are much smaller than any bed bug. But they live on birds or the nests. I've had people with air conditioners call, and a robin built a nest on or near the air conditioner, and they couldn't figure out why these little pieces of pepper were biting them. Bird mites. They're unlikely. It's unlikely that you're going to take them home with you. They usually bite people out of desperation. We're not their primary source of food. But if you know where they are and if you know what their source is, you can avoid them. The problem that you do run into sometimes is people have a lot of birds. So you've got 30 lovebirds in your house. Now, what do? You have to treat all of those birds just like you would treat a cat or a dog for ticks or fleas. All right, so fleas. These do jump and they run, and they're very narrow. Their body's orientated vertically so that they can weave themselves between the hairs. They move quite rapidly, and they do jump. They can be found wherever the animals are, wherever animals spend a lot of time, that bedding area. So if you're a flea biting him and that's his couch, guess what? The fleas are going to be living and reproducing in that couch area. So the adult jumps on, bites the dog, gets a meal, lays an egg. The eggs usually fall off. So does all the poop from all the other fleas. So if this has been a long infestation, there's a layer of poop and flea eggs in that couch. The babies hatch due to vibrations and the sense of heat. The babies then, as a little larva, eat the poop from the adults before they go looking for a meal on an animal. It's their little cycle. So you need to treat him and his couch. Protecting yourself. Ask people yourself if they have pets in their home. That usually identifies whether or not there's a flea problem. If I go to a place and they say, no, we have no pets, but then I don't think it's a flea, so I'm thinking about other things that might be biting them. Where do the pets live? Where do they spend a lot of time? Again, don't sit in those places because you will get bit. Fleas need a non-human blood meal to produce eggs. They can bite you, they can live off of you, but they can't lay any eggs off of you. So no pets. If there are no pets, the cycle ends. It runs out. And if they treat the pet, the cycle will end too, because anybody that bites the pet dies. But it might take a couple months. Sticking clothes in the dryer, high heat, vacuuming out fleas should provide adequate control. Vacuuming is one of those important measures people should do if they have a pet in the house that had a flea problem, because you're going to vacuum up any eggs and any of the flea feces that fell into the carpeting. So that's a good thing to do. Treating the pet, contact a vet for home sprays. They have better home sprays than they sell at the hardware store. Vets know which ones to use. Launder and dry the pet bedding, vacuuming, and that doesn't have to be there. It may take several weeks because the old eggs will hatch out, and then you have another set of adults to kill. And it is possible to do this on yourself with high success rate. Head lice. Preventing head lice. Head lice primarily spread person to person. Kids borrowing hats, kids doing sleepovers. Adults don't get them so much, but they do get them. And it occasionally be spread by other objects like that idea of a hat. Do not use furniture, clothing, pillows that other people have used. Machine washing and drying. You notice the trend with the drying? Drying kills everybody, right? That's what you can do. Hot water, laundry, dry heat cycle. Clothing that's not washable can be dry cleaned or sealed in a bag for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, they need food in 2 weeks, otherwise they're done. They're toast. Do not use pesticides to control head lice. They need to use head lice treatment on the hair. So you're not going to spray my bed because, my kid's bed because he has head lice. You're not treating the stuff, you're treating the meal, you're treating the kid. And that is the solution. The head lice don't last long off of a person without the heat and the moisture from being close to our little environment. We are our own walking environment, right? They die outside of that environment. Scabies, direct contact. These are a microscopic mite that lives in the skin. It burrows in the skin and causes itching. Scabies is spread by that, again, direct skin-to-skin contact. Do not have extended skin-to-skin contact with people that have scabies. If a person has had scabies treatment for 1 day, they are not infectious. The pesticide that's used for these bugs is really effective. So people need to get treated, they need to see a doctor, and you need to see a doctor for a diagnosis. If I come to you with little red spots and I tell you I got scabies, I can't diagnose this. We're talking about a microscopic insect. It's a medical treatment, so it requires a physician to diagnose. Best thing you do for those is refer to a physician. Cockroaches. We have cockroaches. We have bed bugs. These are in our environment. And so the most common one, here's kind of the top 4, is the German cockroach. And the easiest part, this one's more of a wood cockroach. You don't really see them associated with food, but you'll see these bars here on his head. Brown, light brown, brown. Dead giveaway, guaranteed identification. Easy to identify. If someone tells you they have water bugs, ask them for a sample or just water beetles, because it's not a water beetle. They could be talking about a cockroach. So the German cockroach is the most common one associated with food or housing. Here's the whole life cycle. This is the egg casing with 60, I think around 60 to 90. I can't remember the exact number. Maybe it's 30 to 60 eggs ready to hatch. The mom will carry that around with her until she finds a place she wants to drop it at. So then they hatch into little tiny ones. They're clear. They go through various stages of growth, shedding their skin each time. The skins are usually eaten, so you won't find a whole lot of dead skin sheds. And then that is a male over there. This is the female carrying the egg case. Again, notice those brown bars on the head, up in the chest area. Or to look, anywhere there's food or waste, they can eat just about anything, including feces. So they'll eat poop, it doesn't matter to them. They just need some crumbs, they just need a spill. If you're not cleaning up food spills, you're leaving food for them. They hide, so if you see them walking around during the day, that's a big sign of a huge problem. And I've been in places where you have to search for them in the right places, and the people usually know where they are. And I've been in places where they're everywhere. And so you figure there's close to 1 million of them. You know, it's just every room, whether there's a bathroom or whatever. So you've got to remove the food waste. If you remove water leaks, they die in about 3 days without water. So without water, they're in trouble. But if you got a leaky faucet under the kitchen sink next to the stove that's covered in food, you've just created a beautiful place to live. Refrigerators have condensators. You'll hear the water running sometimes near the fridge. That's a little bit of condensate melting out, or a defrost cycle. There's a pan underneath there with water. If you don't wash the seam on the outside of the door where people stick their hands and drop crumbs while they're eating out of the refrigerator, nobody's ever done that. Okay, so that's another beautiful place for them to live. Remove that, clean it up. You declutter and remove their food. You've made life difficult for them, and then you treat with pest control, and it's really hard and they die. Bombs are, again, same thing. They're ineffective and they only make the problem worse. They'll, just like with the bed bugs, you put a bomb off in this room, all the dumb ones will die. Everyone who has a hiding place will just back up a little further. They'll put their antenna out and they'll say, wait for the pest, wait for the poison to go away, wait for the poison. Okay, it's been 2 days, I can come out now. And they go back and eat all the food because there's less competition and the population booms. Sticky traps are good. Right, declutter, clean, seal up holes and cracks and crevices, hide those hiding places, take them away from them. And sticky traps are fine for monitoring. If you have a big problem, you're going to have to call a pest control company, just like with the other ones. All right, so I didn't talk about ticks, but we have the deer tick that causes Lyme's disease. We have the dog tick, that's a common one. And there's also a new one called the Lone Star tick, which has a white spot on it. And the Lone Star tick is really interesting because it causes, in about 30% of the people, I believe, an allergy to red meat. So you'll have allergic reaction to steaks and hamburgers and all the good things that we enjoy. Which would be a great weight loss program, I don't know, benefits. And I didn't talk about mosquitoes, but mosquitoes, we have the West Nile virus. West Nile virus, we monitor birds, so when people get a dead crow, a dead raven, or a dead blue jay, they're supposed to call us, or they can call the dead bird hotline and report that they have that bird. And if they're in good shape, I'll run out there and collect it. If it's 3 days old, covered in ants, I'm not going to send it to the lab for testing. And I tell people when I call them, if you can, double bag it, put it in your freezer, and I'll come get it. Some people object to that, so I had a lady who would go out to the bird and dump ice on it every couple hours, and eventually we showed up and picked up the bird. So if you have any questions, you can reach me at the health department. There are 4 of us that work there, myself, Greg, my coworker Kate, Jessica, and Logan. And we're all pretty decent at figuring these things out. Any questions? Personal experiences?
I just have a question about the head lice.
Yeah.
You were saying with the scabies, after 1 day of medical treatment, there's an all clear, you're kind of no longer infectious.
Yes.
What about a head lice? So you get treatment, or you have the treatment going, and how long are you still washing everything every day and putting things in bags for 2 weeks? And
I don't know that. I mean, yeah, with that, I would follow the package instructions. If you've talked to a doctor, I'd follow those instructions. I think that, and I'm trying to remember because my kids had it 3 times, and I don't remember. It was a couple, it was like you did a treatment and then there was a period of time you waited and then you did another treatment. Like a lot of these, it was due to the fact that you killed the adults and then the eggs hatched a couple days later.
Yeah.
So with a head louse, there's a knit, right? The knit's on the hair. And with the kits that you're buying, there'll be a knit comb. And they used to call it knit picking. Picking knits is almost as effective as the pest control itself, if you're really good at it and you do it at a bright location where you can see those things.
Do you recommend steaming furniture?
For head lice?
Yeah,
I
or any
would.
type of, or fleas, or anything in the...
Yeah, because you're incorporating heat. It's a wet heat versus a dry heat. I think steaming would work fine.
But not for head lice, like steaming the furniture?
You know, for head lice, it's the person more than the stuff around them that you're worried about. You should, of course, wash all the bedding and change the bedding, but I wouldn't worry about the couches in the living room so much. Everyone's in the house should be on high alert,
Yeah.
checking themselves and others and taking the time to go through each other's hair and look for these things, considering nice short haircuts like this. I know it's not fashionable for ladies, but I seem
Let's shave it right now.
Yeah. So it makes it easier, but good question. Any experience with that yourself?
No, but I work in a shelter, so I'm
Okay.
just concerned with making
Yeah.
sure that, you know, when other people ask questions, I would like to have the right information to be able to know what to be concerned about.
There's a nurse, her name is Jean Rosecrans. She works at the health department. Ask for her. She is the source that I go to when I have a question about head lice.
Jean Rose.
Jean Rosecrans.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know that there's a website out there for hotels that
Yeah.
have bed bugs.
Bedbugregistry.com.
There you go.
So if you want to research the next vacation you're going on, that would be a good place to look. But if you didn't do your own search of the room before you put your stuff down, you didn't do your job. So go through that room, open up the shades. My kids know the drill when we go on vacation. Drop the bags, open the shades, turn the lights on, strip the beds. You're gonna spend 15, 20 minutes remaking beds, but it's the only way I can sleep safely.
And you have to strip all the sheets off the beds?
Right
Put your
down
own
to the
sheets
mattress.
on?
No,
Okay.
I'm just
'Cause
doing it.
I've covered them with my own sheets. I bring my own sheets, but is that?
I'm doing an
I do
inspection.
that.
I'm doing an inspection of the room. If I find a bed bug or
Yeah.
signs of bed bugs, I'm not sleeping in that room. So I'll call people, they'll come look, I'll say this is what it is, they'll try and argue with me and I'll be like, you kidding me? All right, so then they'll move you to another room and I do the same thing again until I find the room that passes. It's not hard to look for these, so check it out. Next time you go places, strip at least the top mattress and look at that seam all the way to the top and bottom, look for those black spots and you can save yourself a lot of trouble.
How common is it?
I don't know, we have them ongoing in Wood County. So imagine a place like, I don't know, where's a place with a lot of hotels and water parks?
Clearwater, Florida.
Yeah.
Imagine the influence of traveling people. And so is it really the hotel's problem? Is it their fault? Not really, because they are hitchhikers. So what hotel did I just come from? And there are people that just go from hotel to hotel too. And so it's something they have to manage. It's their responsibility now, but I don't think they own all the blame for it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, how common is it's common enough for me to search every room I sleep in. It's not hard to do, so just
All right.
get into the thing, but yeah.
On the slide, it mentioned that fleas don't, like, you shouldn't be able to transfer them. Is that because they won't, like, attach to humans, or?
Right, they're really not hitchhiking on you. They'll jump on you to get a meal and then jump off.
Okay,
So
so you don't
the-
really have to worry about, like, bringing them home to your own pets?
Not too much. I mean, they will travel on dogs and people if they have to, but they're just not as good at it. Like the head louse, you see how he was designed with those crab-like legs? He's designed to stay on and travel. The flea is designed to move, fast, fight, bite, get my meal, get out of here, and hide in the bedding, wait for the dog to come back. I can get another meal tomorrow, back off again. So that's the flea's life, but they can't. I'm not gonna say you're never gonna bring one home. I've seen them on people while talking to them, so it's possible to have that happen. It's just not common, it's not expected.
Do you have any advice or information on things people could keep in their cars? For like, you know, I go to a
Yeah.
lot of different people's houses, I
Yeah.
don't know what's in their house.
Right, so how comfortable are you with making them feel uncomfortable by what you're putting on?
I'm trying not to make them be uncomfortable.
Right.
So
So you're stuck with light colored clothing.
okay. Or like, is there like a little kid in my car? Like, you mentioned wipes or like,
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
know. What
Yeah,
else?
wipes for wiping your clothing
Or like
down.
after I leave and I
Yeah.
get in my car,
Yeah.
like hand sanitizer. Like,
Get
what
in
can
your car,
I?
drive to the gas station, change clothes entirely. You could do
Throw it in and wash it.
We can have that at River Block, are we gonna have that?
No washers and dryers.
Changing
Here's the clothes
station,
a day.
washer and dryer?
If you can, and you know you're doing that the day before, just plan your outfit to be light colored.
Mhm.
And don't bring your bag if you don't have to, only bring what you need. Try not to sit, if you have choices between sitting at the dining room chair
Mhm.
or the couch, take the dining room chair.
Mhm.
Don't sit on the floor, or near the bed, yeah. Good. Any others? Maintenance issues?
Maybe one more question. Is there anything like an essential oil or a smell or things that kind of
Sure.
keep these
Yeah.
critters away?
Uh,
Is there something we can bathe
The
in?
effectiveness is very minimal, if not minimal. But look, if you bathe me in mayonnaise or bathe me in sunflower oil as a bug, I'm not gonna like that. So can you say that one's more effective than the other? No, not really. Keeping them, they'll claim that, but those oils are not certified or tested for those purposes.
So I was thinking like a fragrance spray, so when you're going into someone's house or something like that, you just kind of, this is my perfume, this is my. But you're really protecting
But it's
yourself.
like
You don't
stuff
have to.
people burn for mosquitoes, citronella. I naturally smell like citronella. I know it's a little strong as you're crying because of the levels of, but I would, you know, in bug sprays, Deep Woods Off is permethrin, right? It's a pest, it causes them to be agitated and not want to stick on you. If you were to douse yourself in Deep Woods Off, and any other brand name that has that permethrin in it, it's going to act as a inhibiting substance. Not guaranteed, but it's going to do something for everybody. If the bug has a choice between crawling on something that tastes like permethrin or not, it'll go with the not. But if it doesn't have a choice, it'll just crawl all over everywhere. So that'll work kind of. So you can even buy clothing now that's impregnated with it. It's sewn into the fabric. If you're going hiking, you can buy pants, shirts. I don't know about the underwear, but you can buy that stuff, and it's mosquito and tick repellent. Lasts for 60 washings or something like that. Don't put 100% DEET or any of those other chemicals on your skin directly. It's irritative. It's bad for you. Put it on your clothing. All right. I didn't notice anybody really itching. Usually I get everyone itching. All right, you know how to contact
She
me?
may be self-conscious, so purposely decided not to.
And you can call anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.